What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the legendary Founding Titan, and today, revisiting an old video, and I want to talk about it. And as you can imagine, it is this video that we're looking at right now, which is the Paragon and Pred, the 8-year journey final ending. Um, as you know, even after this, I did post a bunch more videos from either my stream, like my Twitch stream that I was doing for a short while. I posted videos of gameplay from that onto the channel. I, I posted even more, content before my friend went to, I believe, boot camp. I think I literally made a series out of that as well. Um, and I made a few other videos. I kept like updates on it even after this video. Um, but there was still a there was at that point there was still kind of like a part of me that didn't really want to say goodbye to the game. As I mean, predecessor, like shortly even after this video, released like one of them, like some banger updates. Like they were doing a lot of cool stuff at the time, right? Like they had like the augment system that they added, which added like three different types of playstyles you can, of a fit of any character, right? Like that was probably it was in I think patch 1.4 where I would say the game was at its absolute prime for me. Um, it had quite a diverse cast of characters at that time still. Of course, it has grown since then, but I'm just saying at that time it was really good. Uh, I had a lot of fun, and I didn't really want to say goodbye to it. So I, even after this video, I did continue playing it. And of course, I just like Grux a lot. I like Grux, I like Richter, Steel. You know, I like those characters. So I continued to give the benefit of the doubt even after this. Because at the time, like, there wasn't really that many good updates coming out, and then they added like the World Shifter update with like I think 1.6 when they introduced Acheron. That was pretty interesting as well when they had the Shaper and everything. I got to Platinum. Almost. I think I almost got the Diamond. Actually, I think I was like literally one game away from Diamond. But then I just had like a losing streak of like 20 games in a row. um, but yeah, I was like one game away from Diamond as I was in Plat, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I would have definitely loved to go back in time and play more of that version of predecessor. Um, but now I can safely say that this game, after 1.8 and after they added Eden, I took a step back from the game. I mean, I took a step back before that as well because 1.7, 1.8, those updates were not ideal. They'd made a lot of changes I wasn't really fond of, and I was just getting burnt out completely. Um, I bring this all up though because I know this game in particular has been a huge part of the channel. I would say like if there was three games that really defines my channel right now, it would be predecessors, Paragon, or Fault, whatever you want to say. Like between those three games, I mean they're all the same. They're all three different games, but they're all the same character assets, right? Like they're all the same. They're all MOBAs. They're all part of the same thing. Whatever. Um, that's that was basically how it started. That's how it really that's where the origins of the channel really come from is Fault from the early days, and then it just kind of progressively got towards Paragon, Prime, and then Predecessor. and then Halo Wars, and then God of War. Like those are like the three defining games: God of War, Halo Wars, and this genre of games, right? So like it is kind of like almost like a channel update. I have to say, and I know it's one of those. It is like I think I've even said this before, but there was like there's been many times where I thought about quitting this chapter of games. There was the time when Overprime, like Paragon the Overprime, should have been my final game. I still believe that. I still believe Paragon the Overprime. After that game shut down, that should have been my end. That should have been the ending of this genre for me. But I will not lie, I do have kind of like a addiction to it where it kind of just reels me back in progressively over time. But the direction that they took with this game, uh, it leaves very little to be desired. Like I have actually fully been able to quit the game. I tried to get back into it multiple times during 1.8 to try to get real because it was like I said, it was a lot of fun during 1.6 1.4 era. Um but now I can safely say that I have absolutely no desire at all to continue playing this game. And I know that's also a hot take as well because again, if you've been keeping up with the channel, you should know that this has happened like four times. But this is the only iteration left of Paragon basically. Everything, and I've been thinking about it a lot though. I've been really thinking about it actually, and there is nothing left for me in predecessor. There is nothing. They nerfed CC characters across the board, and I doubt they're gonna revert that. So characters like Richter, Steel, and Grux, which all have like three stuns, got heavily nerfed because of that. Um, and those are of course my three favorite characters to play in general. Then they added overpowered as hell characters such as Reyna, a very powerful mage, uh, Uriel, which is the was it Uriel? Am I thinking of I don't even remember her name actually. I don't know if it might be Uriel. I don't know. It's the one assassin lady. I forget her. I forget if it's Uriel or not. It might be. I don't know. They added her though, which was like insanely overpowered as well. And then Eden on top of that, and of course Agaron when you consider that he could execute you at like 30% health. Uh, which tanks in this game were never like I would say since I started playing never really that great. Like yeah, they have a lot of damage and durability for being a tank. Like they had a lot of damage for being a tank, and they were a lot tankier than like a carry. But I would never consider them as like you could go full armor and just expect to like do a lot. Like they weren't built like that. Like they you had to build tanks for like most efficiency with utility, damage, and you know that's just kind of how you had to build them. Like you had to build them for utility, you had to build them for damage, you had to build them to be somewhat tanky, but you couldn't build full armor on them. It just never worked. Um, but it's even more so now, even with the new items. Uh, tanks are ass. Tanks are straight up dog shit. Um, and it's been a long time coming, I guess, because everyone just hates tanks because we can't have tanks or anyone last longer than 3 seconds in a fight. Heaven, God forbid we have that. Because we have a attention span of a goldfish, so we also have to kill everything as fast too. Um, I I honestly, like I said, there's nothing left for me. Like out of all the games, out of all the games that I've played, all the iterations, there's absolutely nothing left. Nothing. I look back at Paragon, the original, and I think about what made that game so great. And it was like the building system. The old building system where you had like technically what was it? Six like 18 cards in a way, technically. Like 18 mini cards kinda. That was like my favorite building process there was. That never that never seen the light of day ever again. Um, then there was also like the corrupt system. There was like the corrupt universal, if you remember the power card thing. Um, like what each character had like universal. Like everyone had uh cards that were you know like universal cards. Anyone could pick them up. And then there was like order cards, like that would be like what supports would get. Then there was growth cards that would be like what tanks got. You know, but you couldn't actually like put damage cards on a tank. It just couldn't be done. Like there was restrictions to every play style, basically. They got rid of that entire system. The gem system they added in Paragon, the original, completely gone after they reworked the cards again. They did have the cool gem system that never saw light of day again. Then the one thing I liked about Fault was being able to defend towers as well as you're able to, because like the inhibitors were just like super tanky. You actually needed like a team to like go through. Nowadays it's like you could just press one button with Eden and it destroys it. Um, yeah, inhibitor like strong towers slash inhibitors. You never really see that at all in these games anymore. Same as tanks. Tanks are really strong in Fault and in the original Paragon. That's gone. The thing I like about Overprime was like the invisibility bushes, which was really funny for trolling. I just played the game, it was just so funny doing that. Having like the spamming, spamming like wards and bushes. I don't know, it was just really funny. But and also I did like, you know, even though it did annoy me at the time, like it was actually really cool. It just needed a little bit of tweaking and balancing with like the overprime thing. Like in over like Paragon the overprime, if you know what I'm talking about, like I did like the idea of like the objective actually being in the lanes, like the little mini prime you would kill, and you could like summon it in a lane. I just think it should have been balanced a little bit better. Like maybe not have it to where you can just spawn it literally on top of the enemy tower. That might have been a good way of balancing it, or just nerfing its damage. Like it could have been really cool if they started a little bit of tweaking with it, but that didn't see the light of day either. They never had like objectives during a fight. There was also the Earth Spirit, if you remember, like the little spirits that you would be able to get. Um, each game would spawn with a different spirit, so you were always in for something new each time. It kind of added a little bit of I mean, I guess maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's not that good because it does kind of put a little bit of RNG into it and which characters would be better with that spirit. Like for instance, like if you had Earth Spirit and you had more tanks, that would be a lot better for you, like for your team. But if the other team doesn't really have more than one tank, then it wouldn't be as benefiting for them, I guess. So it was kind of like it did play a little bit of a role, I guess, for if you'd win or not. But it wasn't so much so to where I think it'd be like a huge problem. Um, I do miss that variety in objectives. It was just really interesting because like there was four different objectives. There was like the water spirit, which was like health and mana regen, and there was like the earth spirit, which was made you like super tanky. Those were always the most fun because you knew like games were gonna last so much longer because everyone was just so much tankier. Um, and then there was the damage spirit, which was the least favorite, and then the wind spirit, which was like a cooldown, and but regardless, all of that was taken out of the game as well. Never seen the light of day in predecessor. Even after we got the assets from Overprime, never seen the light of day of any of that either. Um, so yeah, that's another huge thing gone. What else? What else is gone that I really liked? Um, Legacy. They brought back Legacy again in Paragon or predecessor. Did I keep it? No. They got this awesome map and just did not use it and still refuse to use it. They want to keep using the same monolith, which I have never liked monolith nearly as much as Legacy. It's just how it is. Like Legacy was a lot better. If you can easily perfect Legacy if you made the jungles just a little bit more open. I think that was like the only issue that I really did have with it going back into it. Maybe it's just I think the only reason I have an issue with it is because I'm so used to Monolith. But I maybe it's also that and also like uh it was just really it was really hard to move around as like a bigger character. So I think if you added a little bit more of an open space for the legacy map, it'd be perfectly fine. Like it would be fine. You could have more objectives on the map that way. But they got rid of that map as well. They got rid of that awesome map. That was also around the time of the augment system, and I had so much fun on that map. I was playing so much. Um, but they got rid of it, and that was also a huge thing that I really liked. Um, a lot of things they get rid of. They they nerfed some of my favorite items. One of which being Giant's Ring. It's still good, Giant's Ring, but it did get nerfed, and it's harder to place in builds, especially nowadays where damage is just so prominent. You need like the more tanky shit now to adapt to the damage because the damage is just so fucking high anymore. And even when you do go full tank, it doesn't really feel like it at all. Um, yeah, Giants Ring was one of my favorites. Remnant of Renew is absolutely useless now because the pace of the game is just so fast. Sevrog is kind of dog shit as well because of the same reason. The match is just too fast. So none of my favorite systems from any of the games were converted over. Like even the starting system, like I don't from Paragon The Prime, where you could pick like I don't know if anyone remembers this, but like you could pick like different things other than like for instance like predecessor you have Blink, but some characters like I'd rather want like I would much rather want a shield, a healing like ability for my passive sort of deal, but that just never came to the light of day. And it probably never will, honestly. I mean, maybe it will, but who knows with this game at this point. And I think it's pretty obvious, even with this montage that's showing right now, that I've had a hell of a journey with these games, right? Um, but I really do believe that this is actually my end. I know I've said that before, but again, that was kind of at the time where I still had like a glimmer of hope that we'd, you know, find fun in the game again, and it did. It was fun for a while. It really was. But there is absolutely no aspect. There is absolutely nothing left. There really isn't. There is nothing left for me in these games. Like, at all. Nothing. The only thing that's left is, like, Grux. because I still love playing Grux. I have a fond memory of Grux, but even that is not enough to carry itself. Because the problem is as well, Grux also sucks in the meta right now. Well, maybe not sucks, but he's just not as good as he was. Like he's a lot worse than he was. And as you know from my Paragon The Prime days, I'm Grux is also a handicap for me specifically because I much preferred a Grux where he could use the charge. I much preferred that playstyle. It gave him more of a very aggressive pursuer type of playstyle. Um, but now he's more of just a close quarter tankish brawler, which does kind of sound like it would fit my playstyle more, but it's the tank brawler side is kind of lackluster if you ask me, because like the CC was never that good on the knockup, so like the only thing you really got was just less movement and less damage. I say less damage because I mean the old pair like in Paragon Your Prime, his ultimate for instance actually gave him more damage, not attack speed. So he actually does do less damage. So even Grux is what I would consider a handicap of his former glory. So yeah, that's all I really gotta say. This is definitely like for sure. I've like I said, I've been thinking about it a lot, like a lot more than all the other times put together, like no doubt. I've really put a lot of thought into it, and I can therefore say I will not be making videos on this game at all anymore. Not be making videos. I might come back like every once in a while, like after like 20 updates. I might come back for like one time to see if it got better. It probably won't get any better because, like I said, they hate tanks, so it's never gonna change. And maybe it's because I'm fucking insane. Uh, because I just love tanks so much. Maybe I'm just insane for liking tanks. But I truly believe that when tanks are bad, the only thing that is good are like assassins and ADCs. Typically, what I notice is like when tanks are bad, supports and mages also kind of suffer the same fate. And that has been kind of true a lot of the time with predecessor. Mages have never been as good as ADC, and supports are also suffer the same fate. When tanks aren't good, it means that the more less DPS side of things suffer just almost as badly. As you know, mages are more like heavy hitters, and supports, well, they are supposed to, escort either the damagers or the tanks. And when the tank dies instantly, then you guarantee that the support's gonna die instantly. Um, and that's what's been happening. I've played like multiple games. I've won a lot of games in this update, and I never felt tanky, not even close to tanky, one time. Um, and mages, now that I think about it, for real, I do not think any mage popped off. Not one. I don't think I even had a problem with a mage. Uh, this is officially my final video. This you will never see another Paragon, another predecessor. You will never see another video again on this. Like I said, maybe there's a chance I play it, but I'm not playing it on the channel ever again. And I doubt I'll be playing it much because as of now, I actually was incredibly bored. Like I said, I try to get back into the game, and I simply can't. I can't. I was so incredibly fucking bored. Um, because of the time to kill, because of the pace of the game, because it just doesn't feel like the same game as it was in patch 1.4 and 1.6. This is the end of this chapter officially, and that's all I really gotta say in this video. I'll let the montage speak for itself. This has been a 9 year, almost entire decade journey. Uh, but the Gruxy Warlord has had enough. I'm tired. I'm the Gruxy Warlord is just he should have retired a while ago, but I can't. I stayed in the glimmer of hope we would get the game we always need, what I always desired. And it felt like we were getting really close with 1.6. It really did, but that that ship has sailed. Anyway, this has been a hell of a journey with you all on these games. I'll be having another update to tell the future of what the future will be, but this truly is my last time. You would, like I said, this is the final video I'll ever make for Predecessor. If you can even call this a video for it right now. So, anyway, I'll see you in the next one, and I'll kind of let the rest of the montage speak for itself, because I'm, I'm just, I'm burnt out. I wish I could go back to 1.4, 1.6 era, but even then, I don't know. I don't know if I'd really even play then. I'm just, like I said, I try to get back into it. I'm burnt out. But I'll see you in a more positive light video after, sometime later. Peace, everyone.